Hello friends, this video on organisms and population part 22 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So that was pretty much about how population growth takes place. Now when we talk about populations as whole, we also need to talk about the interactions between populations, because we already discussed about interaction between individuals, how two individuals interact with each other. They can help each other, they can harm each other, so they can interact in a number of ways. Now here we are going to discuss how are two different populations going to interact. Looking at the picture on the screen where you see that bee is sitting on a flower. So here bee represents not only one individual bee but the entire population of bees. So the entire population of bees interact with the entire population of flowers in specific ways. For example, bees help in pollination of the flowers. And on the other hand, flowers provide food to the bees, they provide nectar to the bees. So that ways they mutually benefit each other. The two populations are interacting with each other. So here we will see what are the different ways in which population interact with each other. Think of another examples, like a lot of bacteria and worms stay inside our intestine. So human intestine act as a home for a lot of organisms. Now these microorganisms, some of them cause harm to our body, some of them do not bother our body. So the interaction of our human body with different organisms are different. So we are going to talk about those interactions here. You talk about interaction between two group of organisms, like maybe you consider human beings and dogs. So they also share some sort of interaction between each other. So that ways we will talk about various scenarios where we will see two different populations can interact with each other in many different ways. So let us think of these two people. Now when I ask you, how do you think that these two people can interact with each other? So there are a number of ways. They both might help each other. They both might harm each other. Maybe person 1, this is 1, this is 2. So maybe both A and 1 and 2, they help each other. One option could be that 1 can harm 2 or 2 can harm 1. The third option could be both of them will harm each other. 1 will harm 2 and 2 will harm 1. The fourth option could be that both remain indifferent. So they neither benefit nor harm each other. So there are various ways in which these two individuals can interact with each other. So similarly here we are talking about interaction at the level of populations. So the most common population interactions are mutualism, predation, parasitism, competition and commensalism. So these are the common interactions between population. So we will discuss about each of them in detail one by one. So let us start with mutualism. So when we talk about mutualism, anything that happens mutually, that means in anything where the two species are kind of helping each other. So again we will talk about the same example of the flower and the bees. So here the bees receive nectar from the flower, so that's how they are getting benefited. And how are the plants getting benefited? Because the bees help in pollination for the plants, which is a very crucial part of reproduction in plants. So that way the flowers as well as the bees both are mutually getting benefited from each other. So that is why this is an example of mutualism. Again, let's think of another example. Have you ever seen these birds? They sit over the buffaloes and they, how this relationship is of mutual benefit. These birds, they eat tiny insects which are present over the buffalo's body. So that's how these birds receive their food, by eating the tiny insects. Now you might ask, how is the buffalo getting benefited? So the buffalo is getting rid of the insects which are causing infection over its body. So that ways again this is a situation of mutual benefit and hence an example of mutualism. Another very common example of mutualism is lichen. So this lichen is a symbiotic relationship between fungi and blue-green algae. So fungi and algae, they exist together in a mutual relationship where they benefit from each other. So this mutual relationship is termed as symbiosis. So this is the special name which is given to the mutual relationship of fungi and algae. You normally find it on the bark of trees. So you can see here The green algae and the yellow spots which you see, they are nothing but the fungi. So the fungi and algae, they are together present. Now, do you know how do they get benefited from each other? So these blue-green algae, they are capable of undergoing photosynthesis. So they prepare their own food. So the fungi, they receive their food from the blue-green algae. And how is the blue-green algae benefited from the fungi? So the blue-green algae get protection from the fungi because the fungi protect them from extreme sunlight and adverse climatic conditions. So one is getting benefited with its food, the other is getting benefited with protection. So that's how both of them are being benefited. So algae performs photosynthesis, and that's how it provides nutrients to the fungi. On the other hand, fungi provides protection to the algae. So this is again an example of mutualism. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.